So, you heard the first slide. A lot of people ask me if I grew up on a farm. No, I grew up in a big city. Second slide? Okay. Me as a city girl, so I grew up in a row home. We didn't have a yard. I didn't know anyone who gardened, so I emailed my mom and said, find some pictures of me in or near gardens. And this is the note she sent me. Here are the only photos I have where you are even near a plant. Apparently, after your 6th birthday, we never let you near another flower or garden. I can only plead that we are city folks and always have been. We have plenty of photos of you on concrete. Love, Mama, Queen of the Concrete Jungle. True note. So I grew up in Philadelphia in a row home, like I said, and within walking distance of my great-grandparents, my grandparents, my great-aunt, and my mom's sister. And then in college, I moved to San Francisco to continue the city life, and it sucked. I hated San Francisco. I couldn't find a job. I broke up with my boyfriend. I hated my roommates, and I decided maybe there's more to the city life than the city life. But then I thought, what else is there besides the city? Luckily for the internet, I found out that there were eco-villages and intentional communities where I could go and learn about gardening, which is one thing I was interested in at that time. And so I packed up and moved to rural Missouri onto this farm to become a farm intern. And guess what was there? Change slide. Lots and lots of hippies. It was complete culture shock. There were no hippies in Northeast Philadelphia. I'm pretty sure of it. But I really settled into gardening. And then I fell in love with this hippie who is now here in this room, and we became quick gardening partners. Our first date was transplanting strawberry plants into compost made out of humanure. And then we built our 90-square-foot love shack, and in the winter we did things that hippies do, walk around naked, have song circles, and sit through hours and hours of process meetings. And then we started our first garden, the first of many. We tended it for the whole season, and then we realized you can garden anywhere. You don't have to garden in Northeast Missouri. So we packed up our bags and we went to Hawaii. And we got a slightly nicer shack with walking distance from the ocean, and we learned how to garden in a tropical area. But Hawaii really isn't reality, so we took a plane back to the Midwest and came to Madison. We were sitting in Mother Fool's, and I picked up the Isthmus, and I saw a job listing to be a garden coordinator for a kids' garden, and I thought, well, I've worked in gardens, and I worked with kids. Can't be that hard to put them together. So I applied for the job, and I got it, and I became the first garden coordinator of the kids' garden at Troy Gardens. And I worked there for a few years, and then left to do a few more things. And then I was invited back a few years later to start the youth farming program that's on the east side. And it's really through that, working with hundreds and hundreds of kids and adults, that I really started to become more familiar with the depths of gardening and how to teach people about gardening. And I also started to be in lots of people's yards doing designs and installations and talking to them about their questions and their issues around gardening, and created a whole program out of that experience. And then at the same time, we bought our first house, and this is a picture the first day that we started to work on our garden. So we spent a bunch of seasons trying to figure out how do you create a garden at your own home. And then the next picture is what it looked like the next weekend. 5 years later, I showed that picture in our class, and someone said, "Thank God you didn't say 2 weeks later." Like, no, gardening is a process. So a year and a half ago, I quit my job and decided to start my own business, and I had spent a long time learning how to be a gardener, and then now in the last year and a half, I've been learning how to become a business owner. Now I get to spend lots of time with gardeners and teaching people how to create awesome gardens that feed their bodies and souls. So this story went from city to country and back to city again. So I say you never know what can happen when you start to garden.